Hello, my name is Eddie Tofpik. I'm Head of Technical Analysis and Senior Markets Analyst at ADM Investor Services International Limited. As is usual at this time of year, I stop looking at my daily and weekly charts and instead concentrate on the longer term view using my monthly, even yearly charts. If you'd like to discuss any of these, I'd only be too happy to hear from you. However, before we start, I just wanted to let you know that no AI, that is artificial intelligence, was ever used in the composition, production, or recognition of any of the patterns, levels, analysis, or any related items on these, my charts. This was all authentic intelligence, all my own original work, as I think you deserve to have that. So with that, let me now introduce today's longer term chart.
Today I'll be looking longer term at Chicago soybeans. The key pattern here in recent years had been the late 2020 to mid 2024 head and shoulders top. It is a reasonable enough pattern, not one to write home about, but not too shabby, on the slope of the bright red neckline either, which is currently at 12.14. One feature to note is that it has a split head with the second part of the head much lower than the first, but apart from that it's a reasonable enough pattern. However, the break below the neckline, well, that was in line with a break below the 50% Fibonacci line of the 2012 to 2019 move at 12.89.5 in January 2024. However, the move lower was stopped short of what one might assume would be the significant support at the dark blue 2019 to date uptrend, which is currently at 978.25, and just ahead of the significant 50% absolute Fibonacci line at 895. You could also take into consideration the congestion from between mid-2018 to mid-2020 that stretches from 960 down as far as 790, as well as another probably more powerful bright green uptrend dating from 2002 to date, which is currently at 933.25. From this, I said last year, and I quote, "If these two uptrends that I suspect are the immediate obstacles to any move lower," which is quite striking, just below the 2022 to date uptrend and just above the 50% absolute Fibonacci line is the primary target X for the big head and shoulders top at 907. We're most interested to see how the battle between the bearish forces of the head and shoulders top match up against the combination of the two uptrends and the 50% absolute Fibonacci line. I should also point out that a secondary harder to reach, much harder to reach in this case, secondary target X1 for the head and shoulders top is down well below in the 624 zone. End of quote. Okay, so a lot to unpack there. The action we have seen in 2025 leads me to think that possibly we may be seeing a basing action or possibly an alternative new and large bearish halfway hesitation. And of those two ideas, well, the longer we go on here, the more basing action becomes a better possibility. From the action in 2025, we can see the MOVE 3-year moving average, which is currently at 1162.25, is acting as a capping action, as we saw as recently as November last year. But the dark blue uptrend has been tested 3 times, just in 2024 to 2025, and has held up well. This puts at risk the primary target X at 907. Now, I alluded as much last year when I said, and I quote, "The action this past December 2024 has to my mind been somewhat unique. You see, December 2024 here has been a monthly key reversal up right at the recent low of the market, and the first real bullish longer term pattern to have emerged since that annual key reversal down seen in 2023. It is not by any means the end of the decline. After all, it is only just 1 month's action, but it's significant. I would suggest that much like Winston Churchill's speech, which I'll apply and paraphrase here, this is not the end of the decline. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it's perhaps the end of the beginning. I'll watch the market with great interest during this coming year." End of quote. Now, going forward, I would pay a special attention topside to the MOVE 3-year moving average and the bright red neckline, and on the downside to the dark blue uptrend and the bright green uptrend that sit within that congestion zone below.
Thank you for watching and listening. This annual broadcast gives the essential market patterns and consequences. Please be aware of the risk disclaimer posted both at the front and the back of this broadcast. Copyright is Eddie Tofpik and ADM Investor Services International Limited. And here comes the final bit.